While everybody on the internet would like to compare Omni-Man to the likes of Homelander or even Superman because of his origin, strengths, feats, or hell even motives or morals, thematically speaking, they don't even come close to aligning as close as they do to Vegeta. Vegeta ticks way more boxes thematically than both Superman and Homelander combined. It's scary how closely their stories are related to each other. I mean, just think about it. Foreign alien conquerors destroying home planets on an individual level or scale and making it submit to a greater power or ruler. Both of them are calculated, cold-hearted fighters who don't pull their punch at all. Best of all, they weren't cucked by the plot from making any progress towards their mission, and they followed through with the slaughtering of millions of people, with the damages being completely unrepairable and completely horrific. Eventually down the line, they had a change of heart, struggled to find their moral compass, and eventually joined forces with the greater good to resist against a huge evil empire. Oh, pardon me, where are my manners? Nolan Grayson is from the show Invincible. He was sent on behalf of the Viltrum Empire to conquer Earth on an individual level. They do this for a lot of planets which resources they deem fit. Nolan just happened to go to Earth by chance. Vegeta, on the other hand, is a Saiyan elite prince from the Saiyan planet which got taken over by Frieza's empire because it got blown up and there was nothing they could do to resist. Vegeta just so happened to be off the planet when it got blown up, and yep, he just happened to be the prince of the planet. I will keep the spoilers to a minimum here, as there will be a lot of spoilers in this video, especially about Nolan Grayson later down the video, more about the show going forward, so you have been warned. Okay, rather than talking about the plot, I will talk about Nolan Grayson from like a character standpoint. So what makes Omni-Man so very interesting? The twist. He has gone from a normal hero to space invaders. Because he, a hero, killed all the other heroes like the Big Seven, and he made it very clear that he was the aggressor and he wants every single one of them dead. At least the ones that pose a threat. And people are trying to figure out in the show what happened and eventually down the line why he did it, including the audience. Because Deborah was given a lot of hints and it was shown it slowly, while Mark had to learn it all of a sudden as to Omni-Man killing all these people. Until he opens up himself this can of worms, showing us what it's really like killing all those people, just for the sake of proving a point, because he is a Viltrumite, and to him the concept of life is just meaningless, because like everybody else is going to be outlived entirely. What's amazing is how much information about the Viltrumites is known simply because of Nolan in Season 1, because he's quite literally the source of information we get as the audience from here. Before the reveal, we thought Viltrumites were good people. However, that all changed when he announced the reasoning for all those mass murders that he committed in the past. Everything about the Viltrumites is later confirmed to be true because of Nolan and his weird emphasis on books. I mean, if Nolan hadn't said everything, or if Nolan isn't the one telling us about Viltrumites, it would sound weird coming from Mark, but essentially, that's what makes it so interesting. He withholds a lot of the Viltrumite information until it's too late or until he finds it convenient, leaving us on the edge of our seats wondering, what are Viltrumites? And that question only gets answered further and later on until we learn or hear from more Viltrumites later on. The audience knew what was up when it came to Nolan murdering those Big Seven heroes. However, the characters in the show were slowly discovering what Omni-Man had done, which kept the audience suspended and on the edge of our chairs when wondering what would this serial killer do next, because we don't know what kind of actions he'll take later on. We don't know how much, he doesn't know how much progress they have made to discovering those murders, and we do. We just don't know how suspicious he is of them. Okay, after the reveal, when going into the second season and Mark is called to the planet, to the new planet, I forget its name, Nolan explains properly, or explains somewhat thoroughly. Actually, I don't think he does a very good job explaining what the Viltrumites are like. We have to take him for his word what Viltrumites are like, because we don't know if he is an irregularity, an outlier, or if his behavior was quite literally the norm. It isn't until the other three Viltrumites come, cause massive destruction, leave it in absolute ruins, and have to be fended off by Mark and Nolan, only for Nolan to be absolutely spine broken back. Which, oh my god, that happens to Vegeta as well. And then Mark is just left for dead. But one of the Viltrumites was impressed by his strength and asked him to finish Nolan's job of conquering Earth. So we know everything Nolan has been saying up till this point is true, giving us literal confirmation. After this in the comics, Nolan becomes an unlockable playable villain that is just ready to fight on Mark's behalf and just fuck shit up whenever he needed to and was ready for it, especially against the Viltrumite Empire. After restarting and raising a family of his own, somewhat free of the pressures of the Viltrumite Empire, Nolan sees the value in family, life, and so much more now, and has chose to oppose the Empire, especially when he's been given everything he could almost ever want. Basically, becoming a terrorist overnight and fighting against the Empire that he so longly abandoned. Of course, I'm glossing over like a million chapters and character development and growth, but I just want to minimize the amount of spoilers as much as I can for this series going forward, as anything I say now can change depending on how this Amazon series will portray it. So I'll just be following the comics as that's been released now. There's a whole video done by this channel. You should go check it out. The moral battle between himself, his cause, and his family. There's also this whole bit where he tries to keep the family together by explaining everything to the wife by keeping everything a secret. I still think Omni-Man wanted to keep both his family and take over the planet both at the same time without any conveniences, and that they won't be affected by this. Instead, they'll be welcomed into the Empire. But we see how that turned out. This is where we kind of see or get hinted at the moral struggle he was having initially, and why we didn't immediately criticize Nolan's decision when he was struggling or when he flew off after beating Mark to a pulp and quite literally have successfully conquered planet Earth. He having his internal struggle with himself about his family or the cause, which is very similar to Vegeta in a similar regard, but both made their decision, chose their family, and realized they can't take back their actions with the destruction they have caused, only to minimize it going forward. Also, FYI, only episode 4 has come out, or I've seen up to episode 4. Anything going forward, I wanted to keep it short about this. So I'm going to try and avoid any spoilers for Nolan. Now I want to start bringing up the comparisons for Vegeta, but we gotta address what made Vegeta so interesting. Well, Vegeta was a Saiyan. He's also an alien foreign invader. And because he's a Saiyan, ever since the idea of Saiyans became a very real idea, or a very real thing, wherein Goku was actually an alien, which was a plot twist right from the very start of the show, that was meant to destroy and rule the galaxy, which sounds a lot like Superman and everything else was doing, we always had the question at the back of our head, what are Saiyans supposed to be like, what do they do, and what were they like before? And all of those questions were constantly being answered by plot relevance and plot answers. Because we became very interested and had these questions at the very back of our minds, but we were very distracted by the action and the constant Saiyan barrage that kept heading our way. First it was Raditz, then it was Nappa and Vegeta. And so the Saiyans became a very focused and leading topic head on. So those questions we knew we were going to get the answers to. So it was right for us to be patient and wait for this all the time. And most of our answers to those questions solely came from either the narrator or Vegeta. I mean, Nappa and Raditz did play a role, but they more or less were exposition, and now they're dead. Vegeta's the only one left to answer those questions, and to give us hints as to what Saiyans were supposed to be like and how they're supposed to spend their time. Because the only other Saiyan we spend time with is Goku, and he has no idea he was even a Saiyan to begin with. And so the Vegeta is the only one who tells us what Saiyans are supposed to be like. He describes to us what they wear, how they should behave, what their roles are supposed to be like in the galaxy or in the bigger picture. Later in Super, he describes what Universe 6 Saiyans look like, how their armor and dressing looks eerily similar to what their uniforms looked like before Frieza took over. And one thing I want to emphasize is that Vegeta played the biggest role in explaining to us what Saiyans are supposed to be like. Don't get me wrong. Raditz helped break the ice and demonstrate the capable power of like the average Saiyan, but Vegeta brought with him his strength, class, and how Saiyans are supposed to normally operate, assuming Frieza didn't play any role in it. He explained everything of what a Saiyan is supposed to be like, and I don't think we had much references of Frieza and we assume these were all the actions of Vegeta trying to recruit Goku after witnessing his strength and him defeating Nappa. To further this point even forward, Vegeta gets rid of his weakness of the tail, creates a moon, artificial moon of his own power and making, and is in full control of his Ozaru form, the big monkey, showing us great strides in the Saiyan development and achievement of power by furthering his own techniques. And the same could be said about Goku, assuming he never followed the martial arts way. It's eerily similar, and everything we know about Saiyans either came from the author, the other Saiyans, but most importantly, Vegeta himself, and Frieza obviously to some extent, but he died. So, some information from Vegeta would include Zenkai boost, the invasion of other planets, the drastic change in both technology and culture, because of Frieza obviously, Super Saiyan prophecy, you get the idea. All from Vegeta. He was absolutely integral and needed, and played a huge role in the Frieza saga. Bit of a side tangent, but I like to think that Vegeta's story is a forced continuation past the Saiyan saga after the end of Lord Frieza. I like to think of it as like, what would Omni-Man do after the Viltrum Empire was overthrown, and done? I think Omni-Man would just live the rest of his life wandering. So what would Vegeta do in this instance? We didn't know. I mean, he was in a similar situation. Would he continue, like, what, doing as he did things normally? We didn't know what Vegeta was like. Because it's a hard question to answer. What should Vegeta do after all his people have died to a tyrannical dictator that he didn't even get to kill himself? If Omni-Man didn't have Mark Grayson, and most, if not all, the Viltrumites had died during the Viltrumite War towards the end of the series, what would Nolan or Omni-Man do? That's the same kind of question that crossed my mind when watching Invincible when I was reading ahead. And the first thought and rewatching like Dragon Ball Z, it's the first thought that came to me thinking about Vegeta. Because maybe Vegeta could use the Dragon Balls to revive his dead species of Saiyans, and maybe have them all caught up to speed post their destruction. Wait. Why hasn't that happened yet? How the fuck are you still the Prince of Omni Saiyans, Vegeta? The only ones left in theory are Gohan and him. We don't even know if Goku's alive. How about you revive your dead race? Because there's no fucking reason you can't let that happen. Because you're banging the chick that invented the show and the Dragon Radar. You literally saw what the Dragon Balls are capable of doing. You chased it for immortality. Because, bruh, fuck that shit. Anyway, a new purpose. Enough of that side tangent. What comes next is far greater importance and more progressive to Vegeta's character growth. Because to be honest, that side tangent would have been great and lovely to see, but we haven't seen that side of Vegeta at all. What we have seen before is a power-hungry maniac who is hell-bent on defeating the impossible odds, especially when all is stacked against him. The only way he knew how to take out the Overlord Frieza is through immortality, and that's the whole reason he showed up to Earth to begin with. Sure, he has always been driven by the idea of immortality, all for the purpose of just defeating all Frieza. However, once that option was thrown out the window, he was more realistic and more hell-bent on defeating Frieza in a power struggle after his million Senkai boosts, or fleeing whenever he got the chance, because he knew things wouldn't turn out square until he saw the recovery power of the White Mage. The possibility of him beating Frieza only became more possible, only in theory. In Vegeta's mind, it wasn't until Vegeta put his all into the one single blast and Frieza just kicked it away. And Frieza made Vegeta cry like a little bitch and bullied him to death. It's interesting because I see this as both Nolan and Vegeta wanted to live their life the way they wanted to, and the only way they knew how to do that was by overthrowing the government. I think this was a smart decision for Akira Toriyama to build on what's already shown of Vegeta to the audience and how the character would respond in the given situation and circumstances. While that side tangent is entirely possible, and sure, Vegeta cares about his heritage, his lineage and all that, but for the show, that renders death kinda meaningless. And looking back to it and seeing how the Saiyans haven't been revived by the Dragon Balls, it kinda leaves a permanent scar on like what warfare and massacre does to a person and how it can't undo all the damage it has done. And that shit hurts like a ton of bricks. I think the damage is probably the emotional damage that's been caused by this is probably why Vegeta has never gone through with bringing their species back. Almost begs the question, with the existence of the Dragon Balls and its power confirmed, why hasn't he tried reviving his dead race? Yeah, I don't want to ponder that depressing thought. Okay. Things become very interesting as the show does not leave you once you have had your momentary peace. Because now, everybody's relaxing, and yet all of a sudden they have confirmed Frieza's life has been confirmed, and both his energy and his dad's are heading to Earth almost immediately. The Z Fighters have to gather and be prepared to fight Frieza as if their battle had begun from scratch. However, this all takes a turn when Trunks arrives and frickin' dismantles Frieza and turns into the Super Saiyan ever so casually. And then in Vegeta, he witnesses both Goku and Trunks turn Super Saiyan and both casually flexing their Super Saiyan forms and dealing with each other. After witnessing the possibility of 2 Super Saiyans, the idea of him becoming a Super Saiyan was no longer an idealistic fiction. It was a tangible reality, because he knew what it looked like, he knew what it should feel like, and he knew what he was destined to do next. His power or hunger for power had been like anything ever before. The idea of becoming a Super Saiyan had never been more realistic. Sure, the whole immortality thing was nice, but not being able to become a Super Saiyan drove him mad. There was a goal now, and it had to be achieved, and not being able to achieve that was eating him alive. Brother was training at 300x gravity, Earth's normal gravity, with broken ribs and bones, nearly pooping out his own spine. And this was all for the sole purpose of not being left behind and becoming the strongest and the most well-deserving prince that he's meant to be. May I remind you, a lower class Saiyan has become a Super Saiyan, leaving him in the complete dust when he, the elite, should have achieved this a very long time ago. The new Vegeta. Finally, after achieving the new form of Super Saiyan, he feels alive and special. This is like peak Vegeta, like he arrived when he first showed up. He's confident, capable, and he defeats his adversary that Goku was struggling with. This is similar to Vegeta when we first saw him land back on Earth, just casually manhandling and being overly confident. But after hearing a promise from a future Magic Man about the supposed threat to kill all the Z Fighters, that the threat was nowhere near the level that they're supposed to be, and in fact, supposedly stronger, and they haven't been dealing with the appropriate threat, imagine their shock when both Bulma and Trunks bring this information up, just revealing everything out for the blue. Basically skipping a few episodes in, we're now to the part where Vegeta sees what they're truly supposed to be like, annoyed that they haven't been dealing with the actual threat, and now Vegeta challenges them because they are apparently supposed to be super strong and are capable of killing Goku. But what annoys him is that they only are concerned about Goku when the bloody bastard is not even seen on screen, nor is he even around. That's all everybody talks about, Goku. And this, of course, rubs Vegeta the wrong way, because he knows, or he's supposed to be the main focus of the show. Vegeta, of course, this rubs him the wrong way, and he chases after the androids, and chases them and challenges them into a fight, fucking killing people left and right more than the androids are. Of course, when fighting, we see clearly how outclassed he is, standing somewhat of a chance, but eventually he gets utterly humiliated, crushed by the androids, who didn't even seem like they were even trying, just left Vegeta left for dead. But of course, this enrages everybody because they just realize how utterly outclassed they are. And everything is just being focused on Goku to save the day, when clearly Vegeta ain't taking none of it. So of course, having a few rage attacks and getting humiliated, I'm talking about Vegeta, getting crushed by the androids who didn't even seem like they were trying, Vegeta, in a state of rage, finally lets out all of his anger and is eventually looking past the point of strength. The strength that lies beyond a Super Saiyan, both which Goku kind of figured out was essentially needed after the learning of the situation and getting a quick briefing on everything that has happened. Finally, after entering the room of infinite bullshit, Vegeta starts training unlike anything before, with his pride on the line and the desire to be on top so nothing can get in his way, and finally became the strongest that he's supposed to be, stronger than fucking Goku. the cracks in his logic. After enjoying his fun and trashing Cell, he finally breaks Cell's body, spirit, and basically says it's time for him to die. But after hearing Cell's proposition of strength and hearing everything that he wants to hear, he basically is allowing Cell to turn into his perfect form. Obviously not heeding Trunks' warning, whose own son is telling him he will die or his death is absolutely confirmed. Cell were to absorb Android 18, which Vegeta is utterly responsible for allowing when things could have been settled early on. Once Cell finally achieves his perfect form, he immediately demonstrates to Vegeta how much powerful he is compared to him with a few simple blows, nearly knocking Vegeta out cold. Of course, Cell tells Vegeta to charge everything at him because he'll take it head on, and is asking Vegeta to charge up with everything he's got and asking Vegeta to hit him one last time with everything he's got. Wait, where have I seen this before? Vegeta fires this off in the most dramatic way possible, in the most badass way possible, only for Cell to trash him completely by shattering that spine of Vegeta. Interestingly now, once Vegeta has been recovered and given a sensu bean and Trunks has had his fun, we see Vegeta mellow out completely, while everybody else has too, witnessing Cell's power. But Vegeta, no matter how hard he tries, he can't achieve that level of strength by going back in the room of infinite bullshit and time theory. That new level or form that he witnesses from Goku and Gohan stepping out, where they have basically achieved Super Saiyan the whole time without drastic drops in energy, which basically mindfucks Vegeta. Of course, continuously being left in the dust, he doesn't like this, back in there, and is unable to achieve it. Regardless, once he comes out and he recovers, he attends the Cell games without any ambition to fight Cell, which is rather interesting. Watching the games play on, he explains more about Saiyan pride and what he expects from Goku, only for him to be let down. I had to include this. Goku forfeits, Gohan level ups, Cell blows up and then returns, and then he shoots Trunks out of nowhere, and this just fucks with Vegeta. Of course, out of nowhere, he shoots Cell with everything he's got as retribution and vengeance for hurting his baby boy. A revelation that only came at the cost of his literal life. What's interesting is that Vegeta is showing signs and symptoms of care and revelation for the Earthlings, and most importantly, Trunks, which we have never seen affection to Trunks ever before. And this all comes to a screeching halt, and it just goes to further prove the point when he just fucking hits Cell from behind, out of nowhere, taking Cell back entirely. Almost as if dealing the final blow himself. Obviously, without him, Gohan couldn't have overwhelmed Cell, taking him out entirely. Once everything has blown over, Vegeta is just completely, both spirit and mind, broken. Just leaves the field and attends Trunks' departure and waves him off. I don't think the previous Vegeta would have ever considered doing this, but his care and concern, although subtle right now, is a great sign for him and what could be in the future. This is more or less showing and not telling that Vegeta is growing to care for others. You either die a villain or you live long enough to become the hero. Regression. Now this is where a lot of people will try to compare Vegeta with Omni-Man in this regard because of the number of similarities going on here. This is similar to all the anxiety and pressure building up in both characters coming to a head, fully rearing their ugly heads to the people and the ones they care about the most. For Omni-Man, it was the pressure for him to conquer the Earth with slow hints and signs about the hero's death being caused by him, while with Vegeta, Goku's finally coming back with his one and only chance to prove he's the better one. His quite literal drive to become stronger and to be better, and to, he's quite literally, Goku could be argued for the literal reason why Vegeta continued to get stronger than he did previously before, and with him gone, it's hard to find a reason to fight. I mean, before Goku arrived in like Buu Saga, Vegeta had pretty much mellowed out, and he's a lot nicer to Gohan as well as others. At this point, we the audience are convinced that Vegeta has become a good guy, simply because he hasn't tried to blow the Earth up yet, killed anyone, hasn't threatened them. Well, we haven't seen it. We haven't yet. Listen, even Vegeta ain't sure himself, but he's willing to take Trunks out to the park. Bruh, such a good dad, 10 out of 10. But of course, like I mentioned earlier, it isn't until Goku returns back for a martial arts championship that his old feelings that Vegeta had previously buried deep down are finally coming back out again. Slowly but surely. And we see these slow signs of aggression and irritation, not being able to fight Goku, and willing to see how much he had grown from this point on. Because the joy to fight strong opponents once again for Vegeta has returned, such as Goku, and that is why he's going to join the tournament. But unlike last time, and with Omni-Man, Vegeta joins for the sole purpose of defeating Goku at last. Goku is quite literally back from the dead in Vegeta's mind to catch this new L. Of course, the tournament proceeds as promised. Vegeta destroys the punching machine. All the Supreme Sky stuff happens in the middle of the tournament, and they enter a ship trap. Vegeta notices that Goku had amassed a lot of power and could potentially surpass the likes of Super Saiyan 2. Finally, when Babidi calls in Vegeta and is trying to fork him over into the dark side to beat the other MC, Vegeta obviously calls him out for this. He knows what he's trying to do and pull, but Vegeta allows himself to be taken over to solve the million-dollar question everybody's been having. More or less, he's grabbing it by the balls because he wears that Majin tattoo proudly for an extra power boost. We have the million-dollar question at the back of our head. Can Vegeta beat Goku? Who's stronger, Vegeta or Goku? This, like, as a 10-year-old, this was in the back of everybody's mind, especially when they first witnessed that. So they get teleported back to the tournament. Vegeta is just egging Goku on to fight. He's even killing people to prove or to provoke Goku into fighting. So much so that even Gohan or the Supreme Kai cannot talk Goku out of the fight. Of course, Vegeta didn't have to kill the millions of civilians, and whatever happens to be in that direction, to Vegeta to force everyone to agree to fight Goku one-on-one, just the way Vegeta wants it. Because like back in the day, as I mentioned before, we want this age-old question answered. I mean, Goku being Goku, obviously he agrees to the fight. We don't know if it's the sake for fighting, or for fighting's sake, or if it's simply because he's doing it for morality's sake. Truth be told, Vegeta didn't need to do all of this, but in that situation, in Vegeta's shoe, how else is he meant to get another chance to fight Goku one last time? He's still dead. There may never be a next time. And after this whole thing is over, he might be gone. And by this whole thing, I'm talking about Boo. Why in the world would Goku agree to fight Vegeta when he's already distracted or interested in fighting a potentially stronger and newer opponent? I mean, there's always the Dragon Balls to make up for this, but not for Vegeta. No, no, no. It happened. It needed to happen now. Of course, Vegeta was thinking that he could repair all of the damage he's caused and finished by using the Dragon Balls, and Babidi tries to take control of Vegeta one more time to control Boo, but obviously in this most iconic moment, it has no effect on Vegeta, because Vegeta will always be the one in control. The fight between Goku and Vegeta plans has continued, duking it out with each other. Interestingly enough, this whole thing is filler, anime filler. None of this is actually shown to the manga, to this extent especially. Of course, once the bad guy popped out, and turns out to be a bigger ball of energy than they both thought possible, this forces both Goku and Vegeta to pause midway through their battle, as it seems that Vegeta, in his heart, got what he wanted, but not like this. Obviously, he knew what he had done was wrong. Obviously, takes out Goku, eats the sensu bean, and just chooses to fight Majin Buu himself. A feeble attempt to correct the wrong that he knows he has committed, and obviously getting literally manhandled and slaughtered by Buu. I say that we all know that this beatdown from Vegeta was completely one-sided. Some could call this karma, but Vegeta just completely getting mauled and trashed and just taken over and just beaten to a bloody pulp. It wasn't until Trunks stepped in to save his dad Vegeta that Vegeta even had a chance to get up and somewhat recover. At this point, Vegeta realizes what he needs to do, and he's chosen something that we never saw coming. We were given hints, but as the audience, never saw it coming. He hugged his kid. What? Out of nowhere, he's showing sign and symptoms of affection for his kid and family. He knocks them out just to make sure they don't come back into danger's way, and make sure Piccolo drags them out. And of course, Vegeta, in the most brilliant way, decides to end this with everything he's got in one final shot. Oh my god, I'm seeing a fucking trend here, and I don't like it! Wait, but this one's different. He's literally giving it everything, so much so that his body couldn't handle it. He's giving it his all. At this moment, in the hearts of heart of many men, that the name Vegeta was sealed into our hearts forever. Sadly, however, this wasn't enough to stop Majin. Later down the show, Vegeta gets the same treatment as Goku did when he was dead, only this time, it's only for the sole purpose of defeating Buu. Of course, when Vegeta is brought back for the purpose of defeating Buu, under Goku's recommendation, Goku makes the proposition when Vegeta arrives for beating Buu through the use of merging as one. Vegeta is completely opposed to this, because of course he is. Because like, why would you want to merge with another man forever? It's just hella sus. But he doesn't like... All of that drops, his guard drops entirely when he learns what happened to his family after Bulma and Trunks had died to Buu. He is a little hesitant at first, but he puts the earring on nevertheless to seal their fate. I forgot to mention, putting the earring on and merging with another man is a permanent thing. A decision for life. I don't think many people are committed to make that decision. After that, everything from this point on is for the sole purpose of defeating Majin Buu in the most calculated way possible by Vegeta. But when that inevitably fails, they do a more calculated play by tearing up all of the powers in Buu. And once they do that, it turns into Kid Buu, which is a very different version of Buu, and Kid Buu just automatically destroys the Earth. And yeah, we all know how this turns out. As we think Vegeta's part in the show is just completely over, we just keep getting handed back reward after reward because Vegeta shows how he's the MVP. Basically saying, oh good, you basically saved everybody. So why didn't you save your kid, Gohan, who's the only one capable of defeating Buu on his own? Because Vegeta was right on this point, but Plot Armor had other plans. Unfortunately, now it all comes down to a last-ditch effort of Goku versus Majin Buu. Goku obviously runs out of energy, and Vegeta knowingly steps up. Knowingly, he'll get trash. And if he dies a second time, he knows he's never coming back from this. No chance of recovery, no Dragon Ball's ever gonna save him this time. So Vegeta does what Vegeta does. He stalls for some little amount of time. He stalls for a minute against Majin Buu. He steps up and fights a valiant battle. And he keeps getting back up and drops solid lines like fighting with Buu while getting completely humiliated and buying every single valuable second that he can for Goku to charge himself up. All for the sake of Goku's recovery. This man is getting tortured over and over again. I mean, the battle is so horrific that even Toei had to censor most of it. Things come to a head. Satan steps in. Majin Buu, the friendly one, steps in. And then now, when Dende has gone to planet Namek with the Dragon Balls, Vegeta comes up with this absolute brilliant masterpiece of a plan by you putting the full effectiveness of the Dragon Balls to perfect use. And now, with all three wishes perfectly aligned with calculated plays from Vegeta, they've managed to seal the fate of Majin Buu. And this is where Vegeta acknowledges that the pursuit of strength is something that should be seen on an individual level. It shouldn't be because of Goku. It should be because he wants to get strong. That is his life purpose. And no matter what you say about Vegeta, he was the man of the series. And I sincerely believe that Vegeta is what made Dragon Ball Z special. He's the one who put the Z in Dragon Ball Z. He's the only character that I've seen develop to this extent, and no other show comes even close to developing Vegeta, unlike anything before. Plans with Super. I don't know what the fuck is happening in Super right now, but considering how the show is portraying both Vegeta and Goku, and it's ended off from Tournament of Power, spoilers ahead for the manga, fucking Ultra Ego as a form dropped, and his foreshadowing as the God of Destruction, mad impressive. This fits Vegeta's role perfectly. And Vegeta fighting for the thrill, not for protecting a planet, not for protecting people, but for the sake of fighting and entering alter ego is the perfect way to end things off. And finally, we have the perfect canon shot of him without eyebrows and just him flaunting as an alter ego guy. And he's the first one to achieve this form without Goku being the first to achieve this form. He gets his own form, he gets to call it special, but obviously the show or the manga flopped it by having him get completely trashed. Hopefully this form gets more respect down the line, but we'll see. All I'll say is that the perfect goal for what Vegeta should become in the future or down the line is implied heavily, and he's been given a new form. And potentially a new upgrade from Ultra Ego, which we know is going to happen. We're just waiting for us to see it. I wish they foreshadowed this a lot sooner and a whole lot better. Now, I just want to point this out as to what made the two so very interesting before, after, during the incident of destroying the planet. Okay, Vegeta's story is a forced continuation in my opinion. After his closing and finding, after the closing of like the Saiyan saga and the Frieza saga, it was forced to go on more than its normal progression. And now Toriyama just killed it, just knocking it out of the park entirely by making Vegeta find his moral compass, just like Omni-Man, Piccolo, and even Tien. But unlike everyone else, he regressed back into his old ways for good reasons, which nobody is having anything against. And finally, when he completed certain parts of his character growth in C, he was given future prospects in Super, which can be appropriately followed. I haven't seen anything like this in a show, which is just mad impressive on Akira Toriyama's part as a story writer, which just blows my mind entirely. While it may seem like I'm dunking on Omni-Man during this whole video, I love him as a character, and the purpose he serves in Invincible, the series, is amazing. I simply wish he had a different style of development, or like, it could have been very similar, like the archetype for Omni-Man and Vegeta are very similar. I just wish that the show or the Amazon show puts a lot more story arcs ahead or down the line. Of course, I didn't want to spoil a lot of the comic, but I want to see that in the Amazon series, and I wish for those few extra story arcs to build off Omni-Man and see how everything has turned out. Because as far as right now, Omni-Man has served his purpose in the story pretty well, pretty perfectly, and it's overall consistent to his character. Something of a rarity these days. Of course, unlike Akira Toriyama, the author of Invincible, Robert Kirkman, got to end the comics the way he saw fit and wasn't forced to push the show more than it's supposed needed to. Of course, with the Amazon release, Kirkman is given a second chance to review this show, rewrite it entirely, and lots of time to think about what he could have done better. And I just wish for him to put in a few extra story arcs and not copy Vegeta's thing entirely and just make something else pretty much beautifully. Because him having extra time with his kids is just so adorable. Because if Robert Kirkman chooses to leave or close Invincible the same way he did in the comics, assuming he has any control over the Amazon series, if he chooses to close it there or leave it there, I respect that. Frankly, I'm more interested in theorizing how things would have turned out if Omni-Man had to pursue things further on past the point of the Viltrumite Empire, and see how this character archetype could have been played out differently. I'm frankly more impressed by how Akira Toriyama handled Vegeta's story after the Cell games. But again, coming back to that same old question, what made it so interesting? We saw Omni-Man flip from a good guy to a bad guy, back to a good guy, which was a plot twist after a plot twist. Back to back, we had both hints of those seen coming. The first one, no fucking idea on how this was shown, but with quotes after quotes, and a lot of signs being dropped of why he, like, his intention, people were just all over the floor. Like, we see that now after knowing what he's done or what he's gonna do. Vegeta interest lies because he regressed back to his old selfish ways and reasons, which we both explained. And they were both done and changed for the better. Vegeta had way more going for him because of his rivalry with Goku and the chase for power for Super Saiyan and to go further beyond. Omni-Man is different because he didn't chase for power, but he was more interested in protecting his family, the Earth, and taking down the Viltrum Empire and any other evils that may exist to harm Earth as he sees it, and joining the coalition of wars. And finally, for Vegeta, it's seeking strength and growth in a healthy manner to improve himself and his condition with even newer goals, because Vegeta needed to seek past the point of improvement beyond what existed, as we saw in the reflection of what existed post Super Saiyan. Both of them had a story of regression. I mean, seeing things in like the greater scheme of things and learning those mistakes and trying to sacrifice everything they can to make that mistake right again is what makes that story so interesting. The fluctuation of sides and the battle of what they want and have to choose, which determines their morality, is very interesting. And now they have refined it. After making that mistake of choosing the wrong side, they now have to face the mistakes of their past and bear the consequences for it for the rest of their lives. Vegeta, not so much. But Omni-Man pretty much does. There will always be something more for these characters to do, and a new goal and a new purpose. They are never left wandering, like soul searching ever. And if they are, the authors usually do a good job of cutting it short or just giving us like the highlights with beautiful imagery or background in the scene of them either training or like going through these amazing like backgrounds or subliminal backgrounds just to show where they're traveling and how everything is seen as. Because it's also adorable seeing how Vegeta and Nolan travels through space. But yeah, we just skipped that part, and well, we skip right to the good part.